Hi, I'm Matt Lehman. I'm going to work on some Love2D stuff today, so let's get to it. Been a while since I've streamed, and I'm not streaming on my Django app, or any Django app right now, so we're messing with other stuff. Let's see. I had an app that I'm working on. You can even call it that. It's a little game using the Love2D engine, and I'm messing around with Grok and using XAI to do some programming and have it teach me how to use Love2D. So the plan here is to get that working. I've been doing it from like the X interface and just copy pasting code. So my goal tonight, I guess, is to get it working with Neovim and take steps towards that. So let's start by getting the code that I have. So this is under GitHub, MB Layman. I literally just pushed this up like an hour ago. 2D demo. So here's the repository, and I will demonstrate what I have, because I have been working on this on my own just for fun. But we also will need a tool, because I'm pretty sure, yeah, I've not installed Love2D. So let's go to Love2D website. Love2D is a game engine built with Lua. And so I want to figure out how to get this. It looks like there's a direct zip file that we can use. And I also wonder, is it available through Brew? Should I install it through there? Brew, search, love. See what that finds. Looking for love. Brew info love. All right, Love2D. It's from a cask. Which version is it? 11.5. I think that's the version that's the latest. Yeah, 11.5. So let's do brew install love. It might not. If it's from a cask, I can't remember if casks will let you install directly. We'll see what happens. It might be like a cask install. I don't know. And I probably have a bunch of stuff that's out of date, so hopefully we don't download the whole world as part of this process. Looks like it's just getting it. Oh, it's getting that same zip file. So the cask is just automating the process of downloading from that zip file that they have on the website, and then presumably unzipping it and putting it into somewhere on my path. So let's let that run. Am I on the right internet? Okay, yes. So I should have decent bandwidth. While that's going, let's get over here and get into the Love2D repository, and then I'll show you what this looks like. So I just have a single file, actually, like literally I lied. There's a couple files here. We have a primary code file, which is main. And this is nothing fancy. I am using, what am I trying to say? I'm making a Pong clone, as you can see from the title. Sorry. I don't know why I blanked out there for a minute. And I've got some basic mechanics of Pong working. I'm not going to go through all that's here. I want to like iterate with this once it's going, but we got to get to a point where it actually looks right. Okay, so let's see. Is this on my path now? Apple could not verify love. Don't move that to trash. No. Which love? Open. So I think we have to like tell it. Oh, hey, blah blah. It's going great. So your question is like, how's it going with SQLite and Kamal? had no trouble with it. In fact, I think I should be able to. Let's do this. Let's go to my journal app. Let's try. Let's make sure pull. I don't think that matters. But do Kamal. Is that gonna work? Well, let's start here. Kamal. Yeah. So I think it's Kamal app. I think it's logs, but I can't remember. Nope, that's not it. Kamal. Gosh, I always get confused on how to do the help stuff for this. Kamal help app, and then Kamal app logs, and I could list the role of web, which is so. This is my new journal app. You can see it just quietly sitting out here. So last time I deployed, I had some minor tweaks that I wanted to make to the log format, and so I did a deploy on the 3rd, so 5 days ago, I guess. It's operating from my SQLite file. I've written that there, serving on port 8000 inside of the container, which then gets connected to the proxy from Kamal. And all it does is it sends out a task, sets a time, sends it out at 9 a.m. Here was the day where I actually started responding. So any of these upserts, you can see I processed a bunch of those things all at once. It's kind of how I do it. I sort of, my flow for this journaling app is I write some stuff, I leave it as draft in my Gmail because I'm doing it by voice, and then I come back through on a Saturday morning with some coffee, and I look at all of my entries and correct typos and it can't spell my wife's name correctly because her name is Elise, but she spells it with an EA, so rather than an I, so I have to correct that every time. So silly stuff like that where I want to reference people and names properly. So then I write those. So that's why you don't see that separated through here. But yeah, this app's been running pretty great. Okay, you asked how's it going. This isn't, I guess, directly tied to SQLite Kamal. That part's been totally fine. There has been 1 or 2 occasions where I will get, and I literally mean 1 or 2 in months of running this now, where I've seen an operation happen from a Django app on a closed database. I get a Sentry error that says tried to work on a closed database. Well, why'd you close it? I didn't do anything to close the file. So I don't know what's happening there, but generally it's been pretty rock solid stable. Stable enough that I'm happy with it. All right, so we should now have, oh, right. What was going on here? So I think what we need to do is go to this directory where all of these things are and run. So what's happening, I guess, is Mac is I don't trust this file because it's just a file you got from the internet. How dare you get something from the internet and try and run it on my precious operating system? So Mac needs to take a hike, and we need to find, all right, here's love. Should just be a binary. That's an alias. Okay, hold on. Let's see if we cat this. What is it going to try and send us to? Oh, it might just be a symlink? What the heck? What is this? No, it's definitely a binary. Why is it saying it's an alias? So which love, and then, so if we do lsal on opt homebrew bin love, is it a symlink? Yeah, it's a symlink to this over here, where it just extracted it in a different location. Oh, blah blah. Thanks for the what are they called? Thank you for the super chat or whatever it's called. I appreciate that. Okay, so we've got. I think if you hold is it command key or alt or something like that, and try and run this stuff, it'll ask you to run it differently or to give you a warning prompt. Oh, boo. That's not it. All right, try again. What happened to my... No. All right. I don't know why that closed on me. That was weird. Opt homebrew bin. Okay, scroll this stupid long list again. Scroll it so we can actually see it. Okay, so Alt or click didn't seem to work. How about, or maybe it was Alt right click. Open? No. How about Command? Open. Stop it. All right, let's go to this other location. Let's do open applications, love app, or just applications. Okay, so it's like going deep down here. This should work. Should be like, trust this thing. Stop doing that. I should have, you know what I should have done? I should have not gone through brew and gone through some other path and make it work. And also, let's figure out how do I tell Mac OS to trust a binary downloaded from the internet? Stupid. Can't believe I'm asking this question. Firefox is trying to tell me to do something. Okay, get out of here. All right, so use xadder to remove the quarantine attribute. Okay, so let's do xadder and then come over here with, well, I don't know if it'll work on the alias. Let's find out. Okay, so now will love work? Nope. Let's try it on xadder on love app contents macOS love. No such attribute. So like, was there? This is stupid. Okay. Blah blah. You're going way faster, but you don't trust what you're doing. I wonder, could you say a bit more about what you don't trust about it? Because I'm kind of with you in some degree. I've been, and I don't remember if I did this last time. I think I might have when I was doing some vibe coding with the Go code, and I was relying on Git status to tell me like what's changed. So it was more of like a trust but verify. Like I wasn't just doing straight up copy it in and commit whatever it was doing. I was actually looking and trying to understand the code. But that certainly slows you down, right? Like if you can go fast to get the code, but then if you have to like read and process the code, are you losing the benefit? I don't know. There's probably like a fine balancing line of like, this is code that I can implicitly trust because it's so easy, versus this is hard stuff and I should really scrutinize this. I'm not really sure. Okay, I'm gonna try and run this from here. All right, you know what? Let's just do this. Let's move this to the trash because maybe brew was weird. Although we might have to do brew remove love. And it might complain now that I've whatever. So we unlinked to binary. We've removed the cask. Okay, let's go try and do this how love would suggest we do it. And then if it doesn't work, well then I'm gonna have a problem because this is what I was planning to stream on tonight. So let's download this thing. Okay. We should be able to unzip it. There. Okay, so now there it is. I don't want to move this to the trash. You guys suck. Sorry, not you all. Mac, not annoyed. Okay. If you double click the binary and get a warning that says from it, you can do this. Go to System Settings, Privacy and Security. Okay, let's do this. So we want settings over here. Privacy and security. There we go. And then, what? Open anyway? Open anyway appears at the bottom. That says. Open anyway. Open anyway. Oh, my word. Insane. Hey, okay. So this is what you're supposed to see, but now, all right, now I wonder if we can do this differently. Because I want to be able to, I need to be able to run this from the command line. Like, we don't have the thing on the command line anymore. And I don't want to have to go, I don't want to have to do this of like downloads, love. I think this will work, but that'd be mega stupid to do that. I want the symlink. So let's remove that. I guess it doesn't matter. We'll leave it as a download. We'll do brew install love to put it back. So now we know we have a path to get that going. Thankfully it cached it, I guess. So we have this application and it's linked there. So we should be able to go to the applications and see, here's love. And it's going to complain, hey, I can't do this. But now we should be able to go to the settings, I hope, and say, do it anyway. Stop doing that stupid stuff. And then we give it the password and make it happy. Okay, cool. Just so you're all aware, this is probably the prettiest image that we will see tonight. So enjoy. This is what happens when you run Love without any kind of game file. It just gives you this little, like, well, I guess as you can see it there, no game. They have a little embedded program that runs, but I mean, I guess right off the bat, you're like, oh, that can look nice. It's a nice looking little game there, or at least a nice looking little tech demo. So let's try running Love now. Good. All right, it's working. Cool. So if I have my code working, I should be able to run main and, oh, boo. What is going on? Where am I? Cannot load main. Make sure folder exists at the specified path. What? I mean, I tab completed that. How did you not find it? Because there's main. Love. Main. Go. Cannot load game at path. Users, map, projects, Love2D, demo, main, Lua. Make sure a folder exists in the specified path. You gotta be kidding me. Well, that's dumb. And, all right, this is also dumb. Love will not let you highlight. So even though get this nice text message, I can't copy paste that. Although I guess it's over here, so not too bad. Okay, let's try copying this. Let's go to the trusty internet, or let's go ask ChatGPT. Why is the Mac OS version of Love2D giving me this error? I definitely have a file at this path. Oh, that's so dumb. That's so dumb. I forgot. I forgot how dumb this is. It's wants a directory. Okay, all right, fine. Here we are. So you can see that, wow, it looks funny on a big screen like this. Interesting. Couldn't see this on a smaller laptop's smaller dimension. I've made Pong. Not a very good Pong. And I didn't even make it. It was made by Grok, and I was just telling it, hey, here are the rules. So it's like the definition of vibe coding. which is to say coding where AI is doing the work. There's some weirdness here if you're paying attention. There's some speed controls, and it's based on how close to the center of the paddle does the ball get, is how fast it will go. So if you hit off the edge of the paddle, it will go faster. But the bug right now is that I can dramatically slow the game down by hitting very close to the center, almost like zero. It'll almost go to like 0. So there's some stuff in here that will make this go faster over time. And I found that the only way to actually beat the computer is to hit it at an extreme edge. The computer is too good. Computer I programmed a game that can beat me. Just a strange feeling. You're like, oh, it's better than me, and I kind of gave it life. It's very odd feeling. So I'm just kind of rambling at this point. Oops. Okay. So you've seen Pong. So the basic principles is like what I want to do next, and the part you can't. There's some sound here. Why am I doing all this? So part of this is I'm just messing around with AI stuff. I also want to learn how to make games better, and I don't have any aspirations to become some grand 3D making gamer. But I do like the idea of 2D. I do like Lua. So the combination of those things is like Love2D seems like fun. But I want to fix things about this game, and I want to learn some things along the way. So the things that I want to learn that I don't know how to do right now, I have ideas, but I would like some guidance from what AI might be able to help with, is like, how do you do basic stuff like, I don't know, pause menus, that sort of thing. Like, how do you do fancier controls? How do you do shaders? So, like, many of you may have never heard of Love2D, although if you're coming to watch the stream, maybe you have. But you probably, if you're any kind of gamer, have heard of Balatro. It was like the indie game of the year last year. It's this like poker card game that has some mixed in stuff. And I'm not going to like play a video here, but just give you an idea of what this looks like. Well, maybe I do need a video. Let's do a little quick. Can we find just some animation of it? I'm going to let this play. Oh, get out of here. Advertisements. Okay. Anyway, so you can see it's got like cards flowing around. So it's not like the most amazing looking graphics, but there's some cool little effects that are going on that are subtle. Those are accomplished by shaders, I guess. And I don't know how to use those. So it'd be fun to basically mix up, like, how do we make Pong like fun and add some cool aspects to it, like screen shake and color and effects and all that sort of stuff. Something that a video that I remember is on YouTube, I'm sure that you can find. It's called, what was the title of the video? It was like Game Juice, something like that. Yeah, this talk here from 12 years ago, as these two gentlemen come out on stage, is really, if you're into game, or if you want to get into game dev and you've never done it before, is a great talk called Juice It or Lose It. And they talk about using a bunch of different effects to really bring a game to life. They start with a really boring kind of breakout game. See if we can see what it looks like at the beginning. All right, so intro, yada, yada, yada. Come on, guys, get to the point. So they've got this like breakout demo here where it looks like I've already skipped up to a point where they've added some color. And they keep going through, and they've made it configurable so that they can add different effects. And that's hard to see from me clicking through the video here, but I think they're talking about adding sound effects. Eventually, there's some particles that they added to make it more interesting there. They start adding, they just keep going on, layers and layers, and then by the end, it's just like a crazy, crazy little game from Breakout. Still, I don't know how fun it would be to play over long term, but certainly from the beginning of the demo to the end, you're like, oh, that's pretty impressive. So here's the final version where they've added screen shake and flashing and multiple balls and all sorts of stuff to track onto it. Just a cool little overview of like what you can do to make games more entertaining. So this is appealing to me to like learn how to do some of these things. I watched this. I don't know if it was 12 years ago, but it was certainly not last year. It was multiple years ago because I've been interested in game dev. In fact, I might still have that repo around with love written from a different time. I was a different personality of mine at the stage when I wrote it. If you go to, I bet this still works. Let's try it. So I wrote a different version of Pong. It's probably crappier. So let's go get it and see what it looks like. Let's get out of here. We'll do git clone Pong. Nope. Pong. And we'll go into Pong. I think I have some dependencies or something like that. Probably. So it might not run right away. So let's try and run it. It's probably gonna fail. Yeah, missing. Oh, am I in the wrong directory? Yes, I am. So love Pong. Okay, so we're missing some data. I'm sure there's something that we can go download those. Okay, so there's a make. Okay, and then love Pong. So I made a little screen to start it with. I was I was both sides. How do I get it going? Oh. All right. So this is my version from back then. And you can see I was experimenting with some things. Oh, I guess I never. Okay. It's going, you can see it shake every once in a while. It's because the ball is continuing to bounce that way, just off screen. So I didn't get very far, but it was me learning how to make some stuff. I made it 2 players because I didn't. So I'm playing against myself right now, which is a little weird. Okay. So I added some effects of like trying to make the side light up. So anyway, I've clearly done some of this before. Oh no. But that was like, when did I make this? What's the git log on this? The last commit is from 2017. So it's been a while, right? And you know what didn't exist in 2017? AI as we have it today. So my little demo that we have ran already, that's all this stuff, not quite as fancy as that other one, but I think it could be over time. And the thing that it already has over the other one is it's got a CPU player that has reasonable AI to it. Although you can see there's definitely some struggles that happen. Okay, so I get too distracted wanting to play. Let's see what we can do next. So part of this, when I wanted to start the stream, was I want to get out of the flow that I was doing, because previously I was going to X, and I would go to Grok, and I had a conversation going with Grok. I don't remember. Is Pong in here? Okay, so I have this thread with Grok, and it's long. So I kind of kept going back and forth, and it would paste out the whole file and tell me about what I'm doing. And I'd paste it in. I'd look at the differences. So it was working, but it's not super fast. So what I want to do is like move this into Neovim. I'm interested to see if I can get the same kind of learning experience, because what was good about this flow is like what it looked like is something like this. I'd say we had Grok had a list of things that it was telling me I could do, and I'd say, let's do this next. And it'd be like, okay, here we're gonna add this and this and this, and here's the code file. And then at the bottom, it's like, here's a summary of what we did. And then say, what do you want to do next? Here are things that you can do. So I don't know if I can get that same kind of flow if it's directly embedded in my editor. Maybe I can. We're going to go find out. Well, there's a lot of lead up for getting actually into this. Hopefully it will pan out. So the first thing I need to do is actually go to my dot files and pull in some changes, because I'm pretty sure over here, yeah, so I have installed a tool already that I haven't pulled into this version, to this computer yet. And it's this tool Avante, which is kind of an interface for Neovim to get access to models, AI models. So right before the stream, I bought some credits, because I learned if you want to use the Grok AI or XAI in your actual editor, you can't just have, I have an X membership, but that's not good enough. You have to go to X. So I think if I go to console.xai, I can log in with X. Hopefully I'm not yep, that's me. So over here, I've got some stuff. I got to make an API key, which I haven't done yet. So I don't think there's any harm in me showing this. So I got to create an API key. I have to stick it in some like environment variable, do some configuration, stuff like that. So let's go get the latest from my editor configuration. Let's get out of here. Let's go to dot files, which is where I have all my config. Uh-oh. Shoot, what do I still have? So I don't need that stuff. I got rid of that Kamal alias. Ooh, what's the RD bin? What is that? That might be for, we did some Docker stuff, right? And it wasn't working. So we didn't use Docker, we used, now I'm drawing a blank on the name of that tool. But I think it might be that might be there. Or is that for UV? Okay, hold on. What's in .rd? So .rd. lsal .rd. There's a bin directory in there. Rancher desktop. Okay, we got to keep that. Because I will probably want to be able to run Docker stuff in the future. So let's keep that. Let's go back to here. What I don't want to do, we don't want to keep all of the lazy lock stuff. We can update Neovim on our own. So we'll return our checkout to that thing. And then we'll come in here to the ZSHRC, and we will jump to the bottom, get rid of this small for Mac OS stuff because it's all commented out because I ended up doing it a different way. And we'll keep this. And I'm going to add in a comment to say like, added by Rancher desktop. Okay, so we've got that. We can add that. Okay. Add Rancher desktop directory to path. Now we can push up. It's going to fail, so it's going to pull down our stuff, and we should be able to push from here. Okay. So when I go back over here, if it's working right, it should install my new packages automatically because I have LazyVim. And it'll be like, hey, found some stuff that you don't have. Let's go get it. And I should have my new set of tools. So let's open up this. Whoa, all right, close this for a minute because that got weird on me. All right, there we go. And we can then do, like, this is what the stuff will look like. So this is Avante. It comes with I had to break some of my muscle memory, which is hard. My searching was previously all spacebar A was the leader. So the leader key is spacebar for me. And then I did A, and that was to bring up my search tool. I did that because I used to use Silver Searcher. And Silver Searcher was AG, was the name of the command. So spacebar A is why I tied to that. I'm still struggling with that with this tool switch, because Avante wants to use spacebar A to bring up that little menu, and then like a follow-on, kind of like a two-step set of commands to do the next thing. And my brain is struggling. So I moved my searching to spacebar R, because my search tool is actually now rip grep. So it actually makes more sense, but I had been using that shortcut for a decade. Like, muscle memory was there for real. Okay, so if we go to Avante though, and we try to do like question mark, we don't have models here. Or I guess there are some models, but I'm not hooked up to them. I don't have any config for these. So if I tried, I don't know, let's just try Gemini OpenAI GPT-4o. Okay, so I don't have a key, so I don't know what it wants to do there. Failed to set OpenAI API key. Avante won't work as expected. All right, pretty easy peasy. We just don't have a config for that. So I can't just pick a model. I need to actually have something real. So I need to bring in the configuration for XAI and get a key. So what we're going to do is go to my actual configuration for all this sort of stuff. And it's in here, one of my plugins. That's my AI plugin. So you can see I was playing around with this with Olama. I need to switch this to have an XAI reference. I think I had a conversation with Grok about how to do that. Let me look at my history up here. Right there somewhere, probably. Grok API integration for text editors. So talks about setting it up. And here is the Avant configuration. It added something though. I don't know if this is actually needed. Vendors. So let's take a look at what Avante says. We're like, is there a vendor's key? I don't remember there being a vendor's key. It might be hallucinating that part. Yeah, I think it might be wrong there. So I think what we need to do is say, like, this is like a configuration for OpenAI. So the way this works is you have a table, a Lua table. That's what they kind of call dictionaries. And you give it some configuration, and this is the key for that table in this larger. So this ops table this is a configuration subtable, I guess. And then the provider is how you connect. I think that sets it as the default. So what we're going to want to do is make an XAI configuration and set the provider to XAI. So I want to do XAI, and then I want to take that config from here, and we will do this. All right, so the documentation for XAI does say that the API endpoint behaves like OpenAPI. Oh, sorry, not OpenAPI, OpenAI. Gosh, too similar. So it's saying, take your configuration from OpenAI as the start. And then it's looking for, hey, there's got to be an environment variable with this XAI API key. Here's the endpoint. This is the model we want to use. So actually, while we're taking a look at this, let's go take a look at the docs, or at least look at the models here. So we have, it is using Grok beta. Okay, Grok, duh. You guys, Grok suggested Grok beta, and then Grok beta is listed as a deprecated model. So don't do that. I don't know. That doesn't seem right. Grok beta is more expensive too? I don't understand. It doesn't matter. So let's try Grok 3 beta. Grok 3 beta. And I don't know what we want the max tokens to be. I think 4096 is maybe a reasonable starting point. I have no idea. I mean, that's just like in an API call, like how much are you willing to pass around as context? I don't know if that's going to cause us trouble trying to do the things that we want to do. Because context is how all of this works to make decisions. So it very well could be that that won't be big enough. But then, you know, there's a trade-off here of the more context to pass around, the more token consumption you're using, so the faster you are burning through whatever credits you might have supplied. Okay, so we have set that we're going to use this. I assume, you know, let's exit out of here now and see what happens. No provider found XI. What? I just put it in. How can that be so? That seems wrong. Let's go back. Maybe it was vendors. Maybe you are supposed to say vendors. Maybe Grok is smarter than me about a lot of things. I'm sure it is. Yes, I do. I know it doesn't think. Well, the only thing I could think of would be to put it in vendors. I don't see, like, where do they put the configuration stuff? See config for the full config. All right, so we've got, this is all the config that's available. There's a bit. OpenAI, Copilot, Azure, Claude, Bedrock, Ollama. Ah, for a custom. Okay, this is why I was like, I did this with Ollama. How did this work? So Ollama is considered a supported provider. Any other provider that we have goes in vendors. So we have to put it in vendors. Okay. Well, now we know. Vendors. We'll do this. We will move this up and save. Okay. We still don't have the XAPI key though. So I'm actually curious if it prompts us for a key name. That'll be curious indeed. Let's try it again. Let's go to the main Lua. Let's go to select the model. And good. XAI Grok 3 beta is there. It's going to say, well, okay, it just switched there. So it had no problem not prompting us. What happens if we try and run it? So let's try and run it. So I want to say, ask. Ah, there it goes. Enter the XAPI key. Okay, forget it. So we can't do that yet. All right, so this is probably where I'll have to put it in secret mode for a moment. So my plan is, I can't even click that button on screen right now because it might leak a key. So I will try and do the little dance of secrets and not. I'm gonna hit the secrets button. I'm clicking the create API key button, and we're gonna give it a name of, it has a name field, and I will say Neovim as the name, because that is what's going to be running this. It's got a couple of toggles that say enable all endpoints, and then if I click it, it gives me which endpoints I want. So I'm going to assume that I'm protecting this well for now and leave them enabled. There's also enable all models, so I can filter down certain models. So I'm going to click save, and it's telling me make sure you copy your API key as you won't be able to see it again. And it says the key is ready to use. So I'm going to copy that to my clipboard, and then I'm going to go to, before I can share this again, I'm going to go save this as a new item in my 1Password vault. So XAI API key, and I'm going to paste the value. This is in case I ever need to reference it again. Save that. Yep, okay. There it is. All right, so I have this pasted. I still can't show it to y'all yet because I haven't stored it somewhere. Gosh, how am I gonna do this? For the, oh man, that's gonna bite me. I was about to say I'm gonna store it in, I'm gonna store it in my dot files, but that's not gonna work. I'm gonna create a .env file for the moment, and I'm gonna create the variable XAI API key, set it equal, and then paste in the actual key value that I have. So I have this in my demo. I've got to quickly git ignore that. So I'm going to go to my git ignore file and add .env. So currently I have this secret, but I'm not using it. Let me get out of here and look at a place where, can I show all of this? I think I can. All right. Sorry for the long black screen there. So I haven't done anything yet. I have an env file. I have .env, right? I do. So I think I can do .env enable. No version is set. What? That's not what I was thinking of. No, envdir. That's the command I'm thinking of. Well, what is .env? What am I thinking of? Consider adding. No, that's something else. It's a Ruby tool, I guess. Because it's trying to say, so which .env. Yeah, it's one of my ASDF shims. And then if I look at, if I cat that file out, I do this, which .env. There it is. So that's the content. So yeah, so it's expecting a Ruby plugin and it wants to run that. So that's not the tool I was thinking of. There is a tool called envdir, I believe. Brew, search, envdir. Durenv? Durenv. Durenv, that's what I needed. Durenv. What? Man, Durenv. Durenv is a, yeah, I know. How do I? Oh, it's an nvar C. Okay. That doesn't seem right. Maybe it is. This is probably not the way I want to support this anyway. But maybe it doesn't matter for tonight. Okay. Dir-env allow the current directory. See if this will. There's no nvar C. What if I move nvar C? Dir-env allow. Okay. But okay. I don't think it did what I wanted it to do. With dir-env, how do I get it to source an env file? Okay. There's a .env in dir-env. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna move the nvar C back to env. Then we're going to go to, I want to be careful not to show that key. Then I'm gonna go open an envrc file, put .env in here, and then say dir-env allow dot. Now, okay, there we go. We're finally getting an XAPI key. XAI API key. So at this point, we should be able to come back in here, go to the main file. Whoops. And now we did not get prompted to put in an XAI API key. So let's try it. Let's see what happens. So please look at this file and suggest the next Pong feature to add. Now, I have no idea how this works or what it's doing. Be interested to see, but it's running. It's exciting. Let's go back to the top. So it kind of says what, I guess this is like what files are in the context. So these are just splits. Whoops. And it looks like I do Control S to do another submission, or in normal mode, hit enter. I don't want to do that. And then I can add different files to the context. And then I'm just exploring Avant now. So here's my prompt. And I guess this is our response from Grok here. I've reviewed main for your Pong clone. Current implementation includes the basic mechanics of Pong with a player-controlled paddle, a CPU-controlled paddle, bouncing ball, scoring, sound effects, and a serve delay with flashing ball. Sweet. That's correct. A good next feature to add would be a simple game state management system to handle different game states like a start screen, gameplay, game over screen. This will enhance the user experience by providing proper introduction to the game and a way to restart after the game ends. Agreed. Cool. Here's how we can implement this. Add a game state variable to track the current state. Okay. Modify load, update, and draw to handle different behaviors, and add basic start and game over screens. Okay. Here are the search replace blocks to implement this feature. Oh, this is cool. So replace lines 1 through 5. All right, so it looks like we can do lowercase a to apply this. Let's try it. It's got the whole chunk done. So we're going to configure the window. The window size stays the same. And then we have a game state variable with a max score. Okay, let's see what happens when we hit A. So we're in a diff mode. Huh. Interesting. I've not seen this diff mode before. I like it though. I've not tried to do diff editing in Neovim recently with some of my plugins, I guess. So we'll probably, let's see if we can apply this one. So let's say theirs, which is going to be this one. So CT. So we accepted theirs, and they included spaces. Line with spaces only. Okay, got it. So that part wasn't cool, that there was a space hiding in here that we couldn't see. But, you know, such is life when you're dealing with this. I bet if I had done spacebar, it probably would have, or saved it. I haven't, I have something to clean up. I think I have something configured to clean up Lua code. So, although it's looking not like that. Anyway, let's keep going. So, and if you've never seen Love before, the load hook, every one of these hooks that starts with a love is like where the game engine is going to call your code to do some stuff. It's like a framework model where don't call us, we'll call you. So you give it some callbacks and you populate that with stuff. And so the load one is where you initialize the state at the start of the game. So all of those various things like what gets rendered on screen, so all that sort of stuff. So now we're going to here. I want to see if it jumps us there if we hit apply. It does. Cool. Okay, so we are inside. What did it do? Why is it saying serve delay? Like subtracting. Oh. Am I just misreading this? Did it just like delete? Because this I get. Like, you've got this stuff. But why is it deleting a portion? You know what it, oh, you know what I bet happened? I bet because we accepted the previous change, it probably messed up the line numbering. Because it should not be deleting this stuff. Like, it's just trying to update the state. But 82, that's not the right line anymore. That's not where it started. Well, phooey, that stinks. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna say keep hours. I don't want that if it's gonna be all messed up, right? And then undo the previous one? Like, how do you accept chunks of this? All right, let's just look through the changes and see if we want to take them all. So we've got a state, game state. In the update, we're going to check if it's going to check if what the game state is. This scheme feels not so great. Yeah, I don't know that I'm liking how Avant kind of has like all this stuff kind of segmented up. What I'm going to do, I think, is try and take all of them. Whoops. That's not what I want. C-O. Whoops. 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 It was capital A. Yeah, so now look, it's got it right. It didn't destroy the start ball thing anymore. It's got the right changes to look at. Like, this doesn't seem right. This code, look at this. Where's the, if we have an elif and then an end, where's the associated end that goes with this? That's not right. So if we're playing, we're allowing the paddles to move. That's fine. I think it's struggling with doing this right. Okay, let's just try and take them all. So all theirs. So that would be CA. But yeah, now we're toast. Because it definitely failed. So like it forgot an end. Maybe that's as bad as it gets. Also, I noticed my editor is complaining about a bunch of stuff that the undefined global love, that's going to get annoying really fast. I think there's some Lua configuration that I can turn on to make it stop complaining about that. It's also going to continue to complain about global variables, which is irksome. We could define those above the load function, I guess. I wouldn't. I'm trying to think of where we're given. All right, let's try running it. See what happens. Love dot. Welcome to Pong clone. Okay. Enter to start. Up and down arrows to move. Whoa. All right, so I think it got rid of. Or you know what was happening? I bet. The timer and the bouncing ball was maybe still running behind that little screen. All right, let's see if I can win. Because we got to get to the end state. So somebody's got to win. Although I guess I could put the... Could it be the computer? I wasn't paying enough attention to the logic. Oh man, so fast. When I had it on the smaller size, I couldn't even see some of the bugs. So like what I'm seeing now is like if I get it on that edge, oh, there's a good example of it going super slow. Like it's super jittery right now. It's trying to figure out where it's supposed to be. It's like not smoothing on the position of the paddle on the CPU. So if it goes too slow, it doesn't have a smooth animation. Okay, cool. You can see it there. And there was a bad animation there. The logic is not quite right when you get it up on those edges. I mean, it's close enough for an okay game. Whoops. I'm just trying to get it to 5 at this point to see if it'll work. But I think I'm gonna lose. But what I don't know is like, does it only work if I get to 5? I didn't pay attention to that part of the code. It says it claims there's a game over screen. Oh, whoops. Okay. All down to this. So the other things that I initially had that code in there, and I had it like go random direction of where it starts, and that starting angle, as you could see, was pretty steep already. But when I first introduced it, it had an angle so steep it was practically vertical, and it made the game. I mean, this is awful right now. It's hard to play. Too much, but it might help me actually score against the computer here. All right, great. Game over, player wins. I hear my beep sound going off like crazy though. It's beeping like nutso. So there's some weird logic there. Press enter to restart. Okay, I didn't see that beeping, that blinking the first time. So let's try this. Let's just go, let's sit there and wait for a little bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it already was going in the background. Totally broken. So the timer's not actually working. So I might be hitting the limits of how far vibe coding can get you, or maybe it's just that like the Avant tools are not doing that great with this stuff. I want to be careful that I don't show the wrong thing. The env file is still correct. So let's take a look at this code, see what happened. If the game state is start, we only move to playing when we hit the down, when we press down on the return key. That's what this is saying. If you're playing, then you're going to move the paddle. But what's not factored in here, well, is this logic just seems like sloppy. Like if you followed this advice, you'd get this weird, really odd, like you just have end up having state checks everywhere of like, am I playing or not? And that doesn't seem good. So I'm actually going to return to the Grok thread that I had with it, with like all the loaded context, and see how it does differently. All right, so here's what happens. So if the CPU scores over the max, either way we get a game over. Okay, and so we'll update the state. Then let's see. So if the game state is start, or if the game state's playing, we're gonna have one of those two modes. but it didn't put the timer in there. And it did some direct drawing here. Oh, that's the whole diff. Okay. So I'll show you the other pattern that I was doing more directly with this. Well, actually, let's try one little edit. Let's give it a chance to correct itself. This game state solution is okay, but there is a bug. Oh, it's keeping track of a token count. How does it do that? It's already over 4096, so how's it doing that? I don't understand. Because like we put in some config saying 4096. That's how much we want to go. The start screen does not prevent the starting timer from going. So the game begins playing before hitting enter, but the player cannot see it. All right, let's see what it says. Okay. I don't know what it's doing right now. I don't know if it's still trying to scan it or something's happening. I'll let that keep generating. Oh, is it jumping on me? What's going on? Okay, here's my prompt. And here's the response. So the bug is that the serve delay timer is running during the start screen, which means the game could start playing before the player first. I know, that's what I literally just told you. Let's fix this by ensuring the serve delay timer only updates when the game is in the playing state. We'll move the serve delay update logic into the playing state to prevent it from running that way. Here is the search replace. Okay. Again, I'm gonna let it say, I'm gonna take all of these. Okay. What's the tip? Why is this different? Okay, well, then we'll say, take them all. We'll try and write the file and try our game again. Okay, so now I'm waiting. I still hear beeping. I don't think it actually worked. Yep, player already has 2 points, or CPU already has 2 points. So that did not work. So I can see like limitations with programming this way, or at least as presented by Avante. So I'm tempted to, sorry, so distracted by playing game. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna say, because all we have, like I can just dump all this stuff. As like, nope, that's no good. So let's do that. Let's just dump it. Okay. Now we're back to what it was at. So here's where I want to go. I'll show the other mode that I was doing this and see what it's like. Okay. And I'm going to give it everything that I have as a way to like update the memory. So I was yanking all of the content and then I was pasting it in saying this is what I have. Oh, but not this thread. Let's go back to the Pong clone. Okay. For an update, here is my game code now. Please suggest another feature to try. And then I'd paste it in. I wouldn't even try and like wrap it with lines or anything. I would just assume that it could figure it out. And I was discovering that this one was taking longer. So I think what I suspect is happening is that this long Grok thread has enough context and is sending back a lot more. So this feels like more meaningful dialogue compared to what we just saw. Like this wasn't bad, I guess, but it was definitely missing something. It was missing that what I've enjoyed about working with AI so far has been, let me just have a chat with you and like give me some options, and like this is much more just like take my code and replace it. I wonder if I asked it, can you let's see, I have reverted the change because I didn't care for it. Can you suggest some other features? Ooh, that's annoying. I can't see that. That's super annoying. Other features to try to implement. Okay, so I guess it's not doing so bad. Maybe it just did a bad job on that one particular state management feature. Because this is looking like the kinds of things that it was doing before. But you can see it's also like limited. So maybe this is saying, I'm going to give you smaller responses. Don't know. What else is there with Avant that we could look at? So we could add the current buffer to the file selector. What does F do? Focus. Where did it focus to? Oh, okay. That was weird. There's a repo map? What does that mean? Huh. Okay. So I guess those are the things that it can discover. Toggle suggestion. Enabled suggestion. Don't know what that did. Disabled suggestion. Okay. I don't understand. So we can select model. We can do... Huh. Let's do... What happens if I like highlight some stuff? So, like, let's say we wanted to take this A, E? What is that doing? Try it again. Oh, leader A, E. Edit selected block. Oh, I guess we want to tell it what we want to do. I don't know. So view around function, leader AA. What did it do? It just brought the Avant window into another split. Not impressed so far with some of the actual performance of this stuff. Okay, oh, we've got the selected code over here. So I guess maybe you can focus a little bit. Whoops. Nope. A. I'm also clearly not like a pro at using this. Okay. But I do want to keep going. So let's see what it suggested. Sneeze, excuse me. Okay. So I pasted in the code. Let's see what it said. If it was more detailed. So it's trying flattery to make me like it more. Add a win condition. Okay. Let's do that. Proceed with the win condition feature. See if it does any better. So this will highlight the difference between the way I was doing it with the tool embedded and the way I'm when it's just on the side. You can see that there's some aspect of this loop that is slower in that I have to like essentially I'm letting this whole file generate. But the nice part is it does generate the whole file with all the changes embedded. So it's not like you saw if in the other version it had chunks of diffs that it was saying put this here, put this here, put this here, and then you had to go accept them. And kind of what I would prefer is just say like just do it. Like I'm gonna just take all your stuff anyway and then either undo it or ask you to continue to modify it. So like don't make it in these like little one-off changes. That's annoying. So my flow for this is like essentially I take the copy button and let's turn off the stuff over here. So I highlight all this, I say change, and I literally paste it all in. And then I save it, and the changes are really hard to see here because that global, undefined global love is really biting us. So I want to go back and fix that. So, but we can see now over here, we have a win font, a different size font. And it's set up game state differently. Maybe it got this better. Maybe it's using a better model under the covers that better than the Grok 3 beta model. So the winner with a max score, we're going to reset the whole game, set the scores back, set the paddles back to a certain position, reset the ball, change the states, set the winner back. Okay, I like that. If the game is not playing, then you're going to be done. You're not going to do anything. Okay. If the score... So there's some stuff for the CPU and there's some stuff for the player. That seems fine. Handle key press for game restart. If you're not playing, you gotta press the R key. Okay, let's try it. So that code just like immediately looked better to me. It's fewer if statements all over the place. Although maybe it didn't work. Oh no, it was only after. We got to let it go. So I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let the CPU win to be the worst player ever. Go the opposite direction. Run away from the ball. Like a bad soccer player. Okay. 4, 5, 6. You can also see the benefit of developers. Okay, cool. CPU wins. It put that in a weird spot. R to restart. So let's try it. R restarts. Yep. Okay, cool. Everything seems to work. Nice. If you've seen, I've seen some game programmers, and they spend time like writing debug tools that they will essentially add as like overlays onto their game with the idea of let me modify the state of the game like as it's playing so that I can check out different things. Because if you have a slow dev cycle of I need to see this particular scene, like say let's imagine you're making an RPG or something like that, and you're at you need to work on some portion of the story. You need to be able to load up at that particular point. You can't play 12 hours to go test something out, right? It doesn't make any sense. So you see these kind of like tools that they will build to find ways to quickly get to the spot you need to or adjust things. So in that example where I was waiting to see the reset menu, I think what I could have done was have a tool that would allow me to very quickly change the max score so that we could have seen it just after 1 or something, or just go straight there. Like put the state already in a losing condition. So I am getting some of the sound effect benefits that you all can't hear. It's like you can hear them coming from these headphones, which is probably what's keeping my attention here. So we have made a feature, and I think I've discovered a couple things about this. The version, at least the version of Avant that I'm on and the model that I was using was just not a great experience yet. Also, it could be that I just need to have it accept some configuration, like auto accept the changes or something like that, and then have it be a quick undo. And in addition to that, I think I am behind. I am behind on my version of Avant, I believe. F60. Like I don't even know how to measure how far behind that is. Certainly not BA272. So what would I do differently? I think let's look at a little bit of this config stuff. So that's the installation stuff that we already saw. There is a default configuration. Usage. Okay. We've got different vendors we can use. There's the key bindings. Oh, maybe that diff stuff came from Avant. We've got ask. Oh, okay. We were doing ask about our code. There's a chat option. Avant chat? Huh. Is that not what we're doing? All right, let's try that. What is that? Avant chat. Well, that is what we're doing. I don't get it. What's the difference between ask and chat? That brings up that window. Then we can close it. And yeah, I don't get it because Avant chat with tab, switch focus. Chat with tab to switch focus. Okay. I'm looking over, and actually it's behind my head. Chat with tab, switch focus is what I was doing. Is that what the A said? The ask option? Ask tab. Oh, what's the behaviorally? What's the difference? I mean, it's probably using a different API under the covers. Ask AI about your code. The optional position set window to enable direct asking mode. I mean, I did see we could do like this and then say ask, and then it drops the selected code here. We could probably ask about the selected code. It's just not quite what I was hoping it would be. I mean, it's not a bad tool. It's just maybe not where it could be yet. And then it gets into talking about vendors. Oh, no, it does more than that. Provides a RAG service. So if you want to add extra context, you could. You could do web search. Interesting. And can configure the model context protocol. Put in some like MCP servers. Okay. Enhanced AI interaction. So what we didn't try here is we didn't try like multiple files because I only had one. Got plenty of stars, so I think it'll be something I'll keep my eye on, but I don't know that it's going to be the tool that I want to use for that, which is kind of a bummer because I think I just spent 25 bucks on XAI credits for something that I may not use very much. Oh well, because I probably used, well, I don't know. Actually, now that we've done a couple of these, like what's the cost of that? How bad was it? I used 8 cents. 9 cents. Somewhere between 8 and 9. Saying I've got that per month. So those handful of AI calls were tiny. At least I've got plenty of credit remaining, but I don't know what I'd use them on. Okay. Let's keep going for a little bit. I'm probably getting close to wrapping up. I think I've learned what I wanted to learn, mostly. We are still adding to the game. We've got some stuff to track a little bit of extra state. it drew it right over the top of that, which is a little, maybe a little weird, but okay. So let's do this. Let's add, oops. Let's add our new files. We'll say, and then we'll just add the new feature. Add the lose condition. Also, while we're here, let's go back to this chat. In Neovim, how do I make the Lua LSP stop yelling at me about the love variable from Love2D? Okay, we got to go to our Lua setup and add a diagnostic. I think I used to have that, and then I stopped programming in Love2D. Yeah. You want autocomplete and type information from the Love API. You can add Emilua. Huh. Can't remember if I have Emilua or if it's some other thing. Okay, let's go back over here. Go to LSP config and we have sections for the different ones. So here's diagnostics. And we said this. Copy. Okay. So now Love should not complain. LSP restart. Boo. All right, there we go. So it's still complaining about a bunch of things that were, and what this is saying in Lua is like, anytime you have, if you don't put a local on something, it's considered a global variable. And this is actually useful for this small little game because we can say this ball is a global variable that then can be used by this and down here somewhere, like moving the ball around, animating the ball. So it's a chunk of state that's at the top. And I haven't figured out in game design yet with Lua how to reconcile those things. So maybe that's a good question. Let's ask it here. So in my Lua Love2D game, I have some state that is shared between the different Love callbacks. For example, my game is a Pong clone, and I have a ball variable that exists for multiple things. My editor is complaining about globals. Is there a way that I can manage the state better? That was not a hard question, ChatGPT. Y'all failed. We'll give it a second. By avoiding them. All right. We could use, all right, so basically they're saying use a big gigantic table to put all the state in. Use a module. Oh, okay. So anywhere that I would need to do ball logic, put it in its own thing. Well, I guess that works until you like interact with something. So because at some point the ball is going to intersect with the paddle, right? So what do you do? So the game logic would be in here. Okay, this is a stupid answer. Don't do this. Don't throw your global variable. Aside from love itself, which is like a special one that you can't control if you're making a Love2D game, don't listen to this advice, and that's stupid advice. Let me ask about that module thing. I don't understand the module suggestion because the ball will eventually interact with a paddle. What would I do? What I do in the update function if that was the case? How would I make the ball and paddle aware of each other? Within the update function. Update, well, method, I guess. Is it a method or a function? Function. When you have interacting game objects and you're using modules, there are several ways to make them aware. Each module defines the direct behavior, and main or game acts as an orchestrator. Okay. So you could say you pass in the paddle. I suppose you could do that. Every time you update, you get the paddle as a thing to consider, but what's ignoring is there are two paddles. So this could get you could think about that and think about how silly that would get very quickly if you had a bunch of things interacting on that particular object. Long term, that doesn't feel like it would work well. Yeah, that seems, that strategy seems like it would fall apart quickly if there are lots of objects that would interact with each other. How would you handle that? So they're coming back to that. Have a central table, world or scene table, and let each entity's update get the whole world. That seems more manageable. So it's indirect coupling because you'd have to know that the thing is in there. So you'd have to like say, but you'd only have to change your update signature. So update is the thing that runs, like tries to run every frame. It runs as often as it can. And then you can have different objects in there that you're going to do some sort of logic on. In our main, we have kind of everything in one big update function. So this is both the benefit. This is a benefit for the AI. It's like AI sees everything all in one place, and it's just documented. But as you can see, it's starting to get a little long, right? Like this thing starts at line 102, and how do I jump to the end of a function that doesn't have parentheses? Well, that was not it. Anyway, it ends around, let's see. It's getting long, right? It's like 120 lines. So you can only do that for so long before your game is just too complex for that to work. It's like a balance between, there's something to be said for not getting too fragmented and having your stuff be spread out everywhere, like having something centralized so you can kind of quickly see what are the things we're doing. But then there's a tension with that starts to become like spaghetti code. But at any rate, what this is showing is you have the whole world. It calls each of these things that would be interactable entities, the ball and the paddle. So if you had a CPU paddle, you'd have multiple of them. And each one is assumed to have its own update ability or an update method, which is going to get called with the time, the delta time, that's what dt is, along with that world object, which represents all the state. And then inside of the paddle, it's like now it can pull out find the paddle. Wow, that seems like a really stupid way to get access to that, but whatever. It's just an example. But there are probably real speed challenges with doing some of this stuff. And then it's not too long before you start to get into something called entity systems, components. This concept will, so there's I think there's people can run into, they get into game stuff and then they like organization and they get more interested in the game organization than building the game. So walking that line is tricky. I think that's probably where we're going to wrap it for the evening. So we have I guess all I did was really explore avante, and then determine that Grok was still better. So my pattern is a little bit slower, but is it though? Because it was slower, but it did the right thing. So there was less of back and forth and me having confusion about that. So I think that maybe is something that's missed. So it doesn't necessarily mean that like an in-editor AI tool is actually better, especially if you're using your brain and engaging with it. Like, here's what what it's thinking about and telling you to do. So especially as someone who's learning, this is probably a good tool. I think I'm going to call it there for the evening. Thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully this was somewhat interesting. It was interesting for me, is that I know it was not really like digging into some kind of big project, but I think AI is a big piece of what developers will need to know in the future, and as the like industry itself is still trying to figure out all the tools and the best way to do this, helpful to be aware. So I will. You might be able to tell I haven't been streaming nearly as much in the last couple months. That's just because a little bit of fatigue, to be really clear. So I'm going to probably keep playing for a while. I bet I'll go back and forth between I'm doing some of this Tetris stuff off to the side, and maybe I'll continue to make my Tetris game. What am I saying? Pong game interesting. I do want to move beyond that, and just the Pong is like learn some basic concepts, and then maybe do some other kind of game, or do another couple of simple games. I do want to take to heart some advice that I've seen is like, don't get overly ambitious about these things. Actually get some experience, because if you try and take on a project that's too big, you're just never going to finish, and then you'll just drop it. So that's going to be it for me this evening. Thanks again for tuning in, and have a good one.